Hello. Now that we have finished our project, we are going to go through our timeline and discuss the events that we found for this time period. The first one we found was the founding of the NAACP, which is the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, and that happened in 1909. And then from there, we're going to move on through the timeline, and we go to W.E. Du Bois in 1910. And this is a specific event, not just him, it's where he was made the editor of the NAACP's monthly magazine called The Crisis. And the Crisis aim was to basically help against prejudices. And we're now going to move along to 1914, where the founding of the UNIA, or the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And then from there, we will go forward to the Great Migration in 1915. And the Great Migration was a huge period where a mass amount of African Americans were moving from the South to the North and West between 1915 and 1960. From there, we will go to April. This is three plays for an Ego Theater, which was in 1917, and then we'll now go to all right. So the silent protest of 1717. I discussed that in our midterm video, but basically that was where they were protesting all the violent acts against African Americans by silently marching around. And then the Red Summer of 1919, a lot of blood was shed, violent acts against African Americans during that summer and fall. Then we'll go to Shuffle Along opening, and that's a musical comedy, and that was opened at the Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., and it proved that primarily black shows on Broadway would be successful with white audiences. From there, we're going to go to the Civic Club dinner. And this is where over 100 publishers, magazine editors, artists, and writers, they all gathered. This was in 1924, by the way. So this was the first time and a big number of interracial promotional events. This was the first of many interracial promotional events organized by Charles S. Johnson to draw attention to the young writers of the Harlem Renaissance. And then my partner here will show you through the rest.
Hi everyone. So there are a couple different events that happened in 1925. The first was Alan Locke's writes The New Negro, an interpretation. This encouraged African Americans to stand up and fight for their rights with their words and sometimes even physical violence if it was necessary. They were encouraged to do whatever they had in order to eliminate racism within their American society. Literature element of 1925 was Count Cullen wrote The Shroud of Color. There was a poem that describes an African American who was very confused about how his life turned out to be the way it is in slavery. The New Negro movement, again, was based on Alan Locke's novel. In World War I, it created a transformation for African Americans from old to the new. Thousands moved from the rural South to the industrial urban North, pursuing a new vision and social and economic opportunity. During the war, African American troops fought abroad to keep the world safe for democracy, and they were able to fight alongside with other white soldiers. In 1926, the Harlem Globetrotters were founded. It was found in Chicago, despite their name, the Harlem Globetrotters, but it still brought notoriety to the African American community. The Weary Blues by Langston Hughes. It was published in 1926, and it was immediately received as an American classic and won several awards, which allowed Hughes to complete his college education. In 1928, Count Cullen, who wrote The Shroud of Color, was married to Yolande Du Bois. They had an extravagant wedding and is one of the most memorable events of the Harlem Renaissance. In 1928, Paul Green wrote Abraham's Bosom, which won a Pulitzer Prize with an all-black cast, which was very impressive at that time. In 1929, Harlem by Wallace Thurman it premiered on Broadway. Performed 93 times at the Apollo Theater in New York, and it featured a family trying to escape economic hardship, only to find that when they traveled to New York, their troubles did not disappear. They unfortunately faced unemployment and increasing racial tensions in the city. In 1929 was the start of the Great Depression. It was the greatest time of economic struggle in the history of Western civilization, and it began with the stock market crash on October 29th, and it was a time of greatly raised unemployment, and it hurt those in the less fortunate across the country, especially in the African American community. In 1934, the NAACP had a joint committee meeting with the American Fund for Public Service, and here they discussed many different ideas in order to improve civil rights.
I'm back. We have the Harlem Race Riot in 1935. So basically, this riot was sparked off the rumors that there was a teenage shoplifter that got beat, and in that 3 died and hundreds were wounded, and there was an estimated $2 million in damages. And these were directly affecting African American homes and businesses. In 1935, October 10th, Porgy and Bess premiered on Broadway, and this had an all African American cast, and it was very popular and still performed to this day. So that's a big accomplishment. And then our last event is Their Eyes Are Watching God, which is a novel by Zora Neale Hurston, and it's actually her best known novel. It's a really big novel in this period. Thank you.